I had the opportunity to meet her at her event on Wednesday at the Bluebonnet, right. And that was the first time we met. I produced that movie, the TR movie. It's called U.S. Healthcare, The Good News. And he's our neighbor, and I'm your neighbor. I'm in the street on Jackson Street. She's got it. She gets it. And the good news about that is when we're talking about this with our constituents or with our neighbors when we're walking the precincts, Colorado is in a great place to benefit from the Affordable Care Act because, and the word is that it's really geographic, right? How people benefit from the law depends on the state they live in. And it just so happens that Colorado has the health exchange underway. They're really, it's a simple concept, but a complicated thing to put together in terms with all the complications with payers, providers, and so forth. But we're well on our way. We've got this great model in Grand Junction. And so people in Colorado are probably going to benefit as much as anyone else in the nation from the Affordable Care Act when it launches in 2014. I'm one of those people who couldn't get insurance when my husband's job evaporated. I went to cover Colorado, which is our high-risk pool. Fortunately, I can afford it. It's basically bankruptcy insurance. It's not, it doesn't really pay for anything. It's incredibly expensive, but that is nothing. So thank you for all that you do. 4 years ago, I was walking along with probably many or all of you, walking the precincts and other people's precincts, knocking on doors with my little clipboard and this is the offices. And this was not the first presidential election that I had walked, but it's the first one that I felt really passionate about in a long time. So I walked up to a door and knocked. It was on Pearl Street. Door opens. I say hi and introduce myself, representing the precinct captain at 319 for the Dems. She says, "Well, we're Republicans." I look down at my clipboard, and sure enough, I've got the wrong house. But I say, since you're here and I'm here, how about if I tell you how passionately I feel about Barack Obama? So I don't know if you can sort of imagine what happened in this situation. She said, "I don't have time for this," and shut the door. And that's exactly what, over the last 4 years, all of us can expect, I think, when the conversation comes up about anything passionate having to do with politics, and there's a Democrat and a Republican, and I'm glad to follow Irene for that as well, because, as we know, the conversation has been horrific. It's just demoralizing for everyone. It doesn't matter which side you're on. I think it's just bad for our health. So, fast forward, last month, I went to the Colorado Health Symposium. The Colorado Health Foundation has this every year in Keystone, and I've gone 3 of the past 4 years because of the movie, and been, it's steeped in healthcare talk, a lot of policy talk, and fabulous people come to this conference. If you ever get a chance to go, do it. One of the discussions was given by a woman who's a market researcher. She's has a master's degree in social marketing and public policy. And she works for a firm that designed a huge research study that was ultimately funded by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. These are not slouches. This is the best of the best. To look at the question, how can we communicate to bring about change? Now, they were particularly looking at the discussions related to healthcare, but they went through a long process, which she didn't have time to share with us, and I certainly don't have time to share with you. But there's some highlights that stuck with me that I think are useful. They're certainly useful for me, and I think they will be for you. So when you're walking, when you're talking to people, you may have a different approach than I did 4 years ago when I said, "Let me tell you about how passionately I feel about Barack Obama." They discovered when they were asking groups of people, Democrats and Republicans, that people who are Democrats, people who are Republicans, have very different, they use the word frame, it's kind of a longish word, but very different understandings of how the world works. And the prime example she gave is that Democrats see the world as interrelated, right? That we have a complex system founded on rights, and that leads to the opinion that poor people will never attain full rights without help. This is a democratic construct. For Republicans see life as a journey. We're all on a path. Society is on a long and winding road, and you can't predict where things are going. So I was thinking of the guy who earns $1 million and decides to give the second million to people. Well, no, this person, she or he, is on the path, and they're going to take what there is in front of them right then and there. It leads to the opinion by Republicans that it may be true that a lack of resources limits your choice, but we can't provide everything to everyone. Okay, Democrats, in the discussion of imbalance and equality in relation to health care, Democrats believe that imbalance in levels of health and health care is unjust, that equality should be our goal. And Republicans believe that an imbalance in levels of health and health care is natural, that equality is unrealistic and unfair, that you must tailor the distribution of limited resources to particular needs, that it's not the same for all. You cannot guarantee equal outcomes. They say, looking back, we're much better off than we were 90 years ago. And here's one thing that really stuck with me, and I think it will for you as well. They said in these surveys, we're tired of being yelled at by Democrats. So I'm not sure if in our walks we're going to meet up with Republicans, but we're certainly going to meet up with independents. And Democrats have a wide range of opinions and are coming into this election with a different, so many different constructs that it's, I think, keeping these things in mind and keeping these differences in mind will help us communicate wisely and smartly, and at least lay a groundwork so that we can get into a discussion using facts, which ultimately is what we want to be able to do. Use facts in a calm and rational way, in a conversation with someone, and that someone is very likely to not be an identical clone. I mean, we're all dedicated Democrats. We're all, of a mind. Most people out there are not like us. So, one last thing. Thursday I was on Facebook, signed on to look at something I've been told to look at. I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. But I noticed that 3 of my friends had liked Romney. So mentally I went through those people to think, well, why would that happen? Why? And I'm almost embarrassed to say, but I felt it was honest to share that I almost wanted to unfriend them. But I didn't. And I think I'd be starry-eyed to say, if only we would communicate, because that's not going to happen. But what we bring to the